why do some clothing brands just feel so premium? You know, we all have that same feeling where we're scrolling on Instagram, right? We see a brand and we just think their products must be expensive. They must be quality, right? For some brands we don't, but for some brands we do. Premium brands like Aimé Leon Dior, Louis Vuitton, House of Airs, they all have that kind of it factor, right? They all feel premium. And they've mastered more than just good design. See, they've mastered how to position themselves in a way that makes you want to pay 10 times the amount for a product that's just as good from another brand. So, how do these premium brands do it? See, these brands have spent decades and millions of dollars trying to crack the human brain and consumer psychology. And these same timeless principles are exactly what I have used to build my brand Tame Psychotic and bring it from literally zero to doing consistently $100,000 in 30-minute periods every single time we drop. And the receipts are all over this channel, but in today's video, I'm going to break down the exact principles that these brands use to achieve that premium quality feeling when you see them on Instagram. We're going to go through timeless social media strategies to today's social media landscape and how you can use that same psychology to position your brand as premium, command higher prices, and create a category of one for your brand. So when you look at the world's most premium brands, you've got luxury streetwear, you've got activewear, and you've got high fashion houses. They all look different on the surface, right? But we all agree that they are premium brands. And that is because when you strip away all the logos, all the branding, you will find the same timeless principles that are used and reused to create that premium feeling that we're all searching for. Starting with principle number one, probably the most important, that's going to be exclusive world building. And exclusivity isn't built on scarcity tactics like fake countdown timers. It's about building a world. See, it's one thing to say we're almost sold out or limited stock available, and it's another thing entirely to build a world that is so compelling that the customers get FOMO because they so desperately desire to be a part of this community or this world or this just group of individuals and group of energy, this ball of energy that you're creating for your brand. The world you build, the associations, the narrative, the culture around your brand is what allows you to build genuine exclusivity and genuine scarcity. For instance, when you see Ralph Lauren, right, you think suits, tweed jackets, water polo. And then when you see Aloe, you see a hot yoga mom with a $7 matcha and a pink Porsche in the parking lot. There's a reason why our brains make these associations and why whenever the product does become available, it flies off the shelves and it sells at a high price. And to explain this reason, I'm going to give you a little history lesson, okay? So in 1990, before social media, the Tokyo streetwear scene was primarily dominated by these mass market brands. Now, there was a designer named Hiroshi Fujiwara, who is now known as one of the godfathers of streetwear, and he needed a way to make his brand good enough stand out in a flooded market. He couldn't afford big advertising budgets to compete with these mass market brands. He couldn't afford the distribution that these mass market brands had, so he had to do something different. See, he did what we call grassroots world building. He started hanging out at the underground clubs, the skate spots, music venues. He gave exclusive pieces to DJs, skaters, artists, musicians, the cool kids, right? The people who were shaping the taste of the Tokyo youth. And what he did was he created this kind of visual language that blended hip hop culture, skate culture, and Tokyo streetwear all in one. And when he gave these pieces to these people, he made it very clear that they were like exclusive one-offs and that they had a very high price tag. But the genius wasn't in these limited quantities. It was in this underground culture that his brand was built on. And then people started talking, right? Once the word spread, good enough was kind of like a signal. It meant that you were a part of the in crowd, right? That you knew the right people, that you were socially aware, that you were tapped in, you were tasteful. And then releases started selling out consistently. And the clothes became status symbols, right? And it wasn't because Fujiwara said limited quantities or limited stock. It was because he created a world that people wanted to live in. And that's exclusive world building, right? And it's the same principle that brands like Supreme and Burberry have used to become household names today. But obviously, it is not the 1990s anymore. And we have the power through social media to reach millions of people from one upload on Instagram. So here's how exclusive world building works in today's social media landscape. There's a French streetwear called Drôle de Monsieur. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And they are doing exactly what Fujiwara did in the 1990s in Tokyo, just on social media. And what they do is they make every single piece of content, every ad, every Instagram post, every story feel like it's a part of the same world, created for the same people, created by the same people. You see extravagant ice sculpture Porsches in their content. You see super creative car detailing videos with dudes with slick back hair, right? You see the same kind of thing over and over again. You see little Easter eggs in every single piece of content that they post on their socials. Every video, every post, every photo, it reinforces the same aesthetic, the same world. And then when they drop a collection, they go all out on this world build. Actually, their recent spring 2025 collection was a brilliant example of this. So what they did was they created this French chateau and turned it into a runway. The product shots, the ads, the lookbook, everything was shot with this chateau aesthetic. And when you scroll through Instagram, you go to their website, you see their ads, it all feels like it's a part of the same universe. Same energy, same vibe, it's the same world. And when they do this, they create desire within the people that they're actually trying to attract. It's funny, they've actually built a world for the exact opposite audience of my brand, Tim Psychotic. We built ours for people who are a little bit more rough around the edges, right? Unpolished. But we can both demand luxury prices because we've built worlds for those specific people, right? Not everybody, those specific people. And those specific people want it so bad because it's made for them. It's a place where they feel comfortable, where they feel seen, where they feel confident. And that is real FOMO. Not only 100 units available, limited stock available, more so genuinely, I want to belong to this world FOMO. I want to be with those people kind of FOMO. See, it's the same energy as Fujiwara in 1990s in Tokyo, just different tools applied. But you can build the most compelling world in existence, but if it does not align with who your customer wants to be, it is for nothing. Your brand needs to represent who your customer wants to become, not who they are now. And that is where principle number 2 comes in: identity. All right, so exclusive world building, it creates attention for your brand. It says, hey, we're over here, and it creates that initial desire for your customer. But what exactly makes them pull out that wallet, slam it on the table, and then pay premium prices that you want to get for your products? Identity. Premium clothing brands succeed when they represent who their customer wants to become, not just what their customer wants to own. You're not selling them a hoodie, right? You're selling them a version of themselves that they aspire to be. And this is completely different from world building, okay? And I need you to hammer that into your head. The world you build, that opens the gate to your brand, right? But identity is what makes your customer wear that item 5 times a week. It speaks to like the deepest level of your customer and forces them to confront their insecurities and really confirm who they are every single time they wear it 5 times a week. Premium brands, they understand this so fucking well. Look at Lululemon, for example, right? On the outside, they just sell yoga pants. But when you pull back a layer, right, you realize that they're selling this like wellness identity. A pair of Lululemon leggings costs like $90 to $120, but you can get that same pair of leggings somewhere else, the same quality, for like $20 to $40. But when you wear Lululemon, you're announcing to the world, hey, I'm into fitness. I prioritize wellness, right? I am an aspiring athlete. I care about my health. Every single thing that they do reinforces that kind of feeling, that status. I'm talking free yoga classes in stores, ambassador programs with local yoga instructors, positioning logos on a part of the yoga pants where everybody in class can see that, oh, you're wearing Lululemon. And then every customer becomes a walking billboard, and they're totally okay with it because it's exactly aligned with who the customer wants to be. You know, Patagonia actually does the same thing with like environmental identity. They charge premium prices for this outdoor gear, right? But that premium element isn't justified by the technical specs of the gear alone. It's about identity. And their like don't buy this jacket campaign reinforces that identity. By demonstrating values that go beyond just making money, they're showing their customers, hey, whenever you buy Patagonia, right, you are supporting environmental health, right? You're a part of this environmental support. The Worn Wear program, right? They repair and resell used items. items. And what that does is it creates kind of this emotional connection that goes beyond just the product. See, customers aren't just buying jackets, right? They're buying memberships to being environmentally friendly, if that makes sense. And that membership has premium value. I took the same approach with my student Christian. Before getting started with his vintage golfwear brand, right? He was kind of just creating golf products to sell to everybody. But we worked really hard to shape his identity, to really speak to that person, that ICP that would appreciate the vintage, the old school golf look. And now he's identified his target customer as that person that appreciates the old school look. And he just did $60K for his Black Friday drop, crossed $100,000 in revenue in the last 90 days, right? We did the same thing with my student Lauren. In the beginning, he was just selling his cargo pants to everyone, right? And then we honed in on his identity, recognized that his community was the Navajo province, right? So we started shaping his identity to directly support people of the Navajo province, right? Working with local basketball teams, local conventions, right? And then he did 9K in a week with his drop. And shameless plug here, I have been working with students one-on-one like Lauren and Christian for well over a year now. Results as of late have been fucking stupid. Ivan did 9K with his recent drop. Olga did 10K with her first drop. Kobe did 3K. Tyler did 20K. We've got tons of guys that are ripping in there right now. We're actually opening up a few more spots for you to work directly with my team and I one-on-one to scale your brand. So if that is something you'd be interested in, the link to apply will be in the description. Please be thorough with your application. We turn down several hundred applicants every single month because we don't want to work with people that don't care. But anyways, back to the video. Now, this identity phenomenon was explained very well by this Nobel Prize-winning economist named George Akerlof, who explained identity economics as people make purchasing decisions that reinforce their desired identity. Now, this is huge for clothing because clothing is one of the only ways that we can express and showcase our identity to the world. When you wear Supreme, right, you're signaling to the world that you understand hypebeast streetwear. When you wear Patagonia, you're signaling environmental consciousness. When you wear my brand, you are signaling to the world that you have a story behind you. When you wear Lululemon or Aloe, you're signaling to the world that you're a Pilates baddie. See, premium brands, they succeed when they associate their products with an aspirational identity. Then customers pay premiums to signal to everybody that they're a part of that identity. But for you, sitting at home, maybe your brand's not where you want it to be, or maybe it's not even been made yet. How do you find that identity for your products? Well, it's two steps, all right? First one, it starts with you. And I say this in every fucking video that I make because it is so important, all right? Your identity for your brand has to start with who you truly are. It has to be shaped around you and your interests. Every creative for my brand, every product that I make for my brand is shaped around something that I find cool or something that I would find in my wardrobe. And the same needs to go for your brand. Second is having actual conversations with your customers and not just treating them like numbers. Every single person who buys from you, especially organically, has bought from you for a reason. And the more that you can talk with your customers, the more that you can understand what that reason is, so that you can leverage that reason in your marketing so that you can attract more of those people. And that common denominator for your brand is what creates the blueprint for interests, tastes, stories, right? Whatever you want to kind of display for your brand to speak to that target customer. But what makes them come back every drop? What makes them go and tell all their friends about your brand? What makes them diehard fans? That is going to be storytelling. And what storytelling is how you connect the world you built to the identity that your products pull out of your customers. And premium brands do this through 4 types of storytelling. And the brands that can master all 4 of these are the ones that command the highest prices, the highest demand for their products, and the most premium positioning in the market. So let me break them down. Type 1 is going to be visual storytelling. And this is more so about the colors you use, right? The aesthetic that you commit to. You know, whether your brand relies on minimalism or maximalism. Supreme does this with minimalism, right? Box logo, no clutter, minimal logos, minimal text, minimal fonts. Their minimalist approach kind of tells a story, right? We're so confident in our cultural positioning that we don't need the extra shit. Chrome Hearts does the opposite with maximalism. Heavy silver hardware everywhere, gothic fonts, graphics on the tank tops and shit, graphics all over the hoodies. See, that maximalism tells a much different story. We're excessive, rebellious, luxurious, more is more. And neither of those is better, right? It's just different stories. For Tame Psychotic, we lean a little bit more minimalist, right? Details that don't beg for attention. That's kind of our thing. Earthy tones, neutral colors, grungy textures, functional details without excessive decoration. And your visual storytelling should reinforce that identity with every single display, every single touch point, every single product, every single piece of content, every single ad, every single piece of copy, everything. Now, second is going to be auditory storytelling, all right? This is going to be like the music that you use in your content, the way that you speak about your products in your videos, right? The tone of voice used in your copy, the fonts you use. Do you scream in your captions? Do you keep it chill in the captions? Do you be super professional in your captions, or are you super unprofessional and super wacky tacky all over the place, cool chill vibe? Represent, for example, uses auditory storytelling very, very well. Their videos have that like moody, atmospheric music, slow motion shots, minimalistic dialogue. When George Heaton, the founder of Represent, speaks, it's very conversational. That feeling that he creates with his voice is minimalistic and obsessive. He's always talking about being the best brand in the world. He's talking about the next Ironman he's going to run or the next marathon. He's obsessed with it. And the brand is built for those who are obsessed with every step they take, right? Every venture that they embark on. And you can tell that and you can get that feeling without even seeing the product. Cortez, on the other hand, does this very differently. Their content's like super high energy, fast paced, grimy, UK rap culture. It's the same principle, it's just different execution. So for auditory storytelling, you need to ask yourself, right? If somebody watched your content with their eyes closed, would they get the same feeling with every piece of content that they hear? Would they understand the brand's identity just from how it sounds? And if not, then you have some work to do. And I like to do this with pretty much any opportunity that I get, right? A song on a story, a song attached to a post, audio in a reel, any opportunity I get. Now, the third type of storytelling is nostalgia storytelling, right? And nobody talks about this, which I don't know why, because every upper echelon brand uses this. And it's basically the references that you use in your ads and your content that your customers would immediately recognize from a specific event that they maybe would relate to or enjoy from the past. The brand Palace, for example, references early 2000s British youth culture. The specific London references, the VHS style video. And if you grew up in that culture, you recognize that immediately. And it's not a product, it's not a video that you're making. It's a blast from the past, right? It's something that's recognizable. And not everybody's going to get it, right? But that's the whole point. It's like an if you get it type of thing. And that it lands so well with the customer. And this can be as obvious as just like weaving it into your products, like Bape did with the whole Pokemon thing. And they knew it was going to be a hit because it was a game that their audience grew up playing. Or it could be something as simple as like a slideshow that you use in your marketing, right? For us at ComplexCon, we created a booth, right? Where people would come in and they would play one-on-ones with the actor in this whole older brother bedroom environment. And they would play one-on-ones Black Ops 2 quickscope matches, right? And that's like something that our audience grew up playing. So it was that feeling of nostalgia and like, oh my gosh, like I remember that shit, And nostalgia storytelling works because it makes your customer feel seen. That's huge. They recognize the reference and that signals to them, oh, this brand is meant for me. And chances are your 25-year-old customer probably grew up listening to that music, watching those movies, playing those games, seeing those visuals, right? And for your customers that are a little bit older, right? Early 20s, mid 20s, they are going to recognize like the movie references, the game references, the location references, the visual references, and it's really going to resonate with them specifically. Now, the fourth type of storytelling is going to be founder storytelling. Now, founder storytelling and micro characterization moments is a whole video in and of itself that I'm working on that goes much deeper than just utilizing the storytelling of the founder. Right now, we're just going to focus on founder storytelling. So founders who are able to weave their personal story into the storytelling of the brand, they're going to be the ones that dominate in 2026, 2027, and beyond. And we are seeing that everywhere in the age of social media marketing. Jerry Lorenzo with Fear of God. You can't really separate the brand from Jerry Lorenzo's personal story. Clint from Cortez. You can't separate the brand from Clint's personal story. Going on the subway to take 20 hoodies to sell to his friends or to the printers. Bembury with his collaborations. Every sneaker that he designs comes with a story of his reference points, the inspiration, why he created it, maybe a personal story, a part of his personal journey. He documents documents everything on social media. So you're not just buying shoes, you're buying Benbury's creative vision. I mean, even Virgil Abloh with Off-White, right? The quotation marks, the hardware, the zip ties, the industrial aesthetic, all of that came from Virgil's personal design philosophy. His story of being a Black creative breaking into luxury design, right? And his mission to create a gateway for his people into luxury streetwear. And corporate brands, they can't do this, right? They can tell the story of an athlete going to the World Cup, right? But they can't tell the story of the founder grinding his ass off from his bedroom from the beginning to build the brand. And that authenticity is irreplaceable. And for my brand, for Tame Psychotic, I document literally everything on social media. The late nights working, throw that shit on my story. I film stuff about that. The photo shoots, doing BTS, doing the actual shoot, doing multiple BTS videos, the founder story, the sample unboxing, the ideation, order updates, shipping delays. I'm making a video talking about the whole thing. I'm very transparent with everything, and I say it from my point of view as the founder. So therefore, whenever somebody buys the product, they're buying into my journey as a person, as a creative, as an entrepreneur. So to wrap this up, whenever you can master these timeless principles, customers stop caring about the price, right? Because they care about what the clothes mean for them. And that is the dream of every brand owner. Because yes, the money is nice, but you're also given the freedom to create like you want to create. So I appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to this history lesson, TED Talk, masterclass on psychology and premium brand marketing. And this is actually a video that I would suggest that you watch back a few times over the course of building your brand, because as your journey unfolds, a new part of this will be unlocked and a new element in this video will be implementable, if that's a word, into your brand and the building of it and the process of constructing the world and the identity and using these tactics and principles to grow your brand. And what I'd highly suggest that you do now is go and watch this video that I made on brand marketing, where I get a lot more technical and show you all of the strategies that are dominating today's world so that you can copy and paste them for your own creatives. As usual, I'm in your corner. All right. I've been through all the struggles. I know what it's like to not have any idea how to do this shit and not have anybody teaching you. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys. And I appreciate you guys' support on every video. If you found any value in this video, please drop a like. As always, I will see you guys in the next one.